It's foolish to fear a beast that consumes and destroys, because that beast only acts on impulse with no further thought put into its actions other than getting by. That is why lions, bears, sharks, and wasps don't rule the earth. That's why the loudest, most muscular guy who thinks he's the shit will never have power beyond intimidating those who are smaller in size. The ones who dominate are not the biggest, meanest, spontaneous barbarians, but rather the sociopathic and silently cunning with ambition and patience. They are the ones you should fear. Those, and of course, those who are defending a cause. When the berserking brute directs his strength to something other than his own desires, all of a sudden he actually becomes a force to be reckoned with. He sees other stakes than his own needs, and will much more selflessly than the brooding schemer do anything he can to protect whatever he is defending. And in Karok the Beastmaster's case, the apex predator is in fact not just the master of beasts, but a beast himself, and bodyguard of every living creature. Beastmaster was born in the kingdom of Slom. His mother died in childbirth, and his father when he was 5. His father worked as one of the king's farriers, which means a person who shoes horses, and so Beastmaster grew up among livestock. After his father's death, he started working at the king's personal collection of animals, a strange habit the king had picked up. The king of Slom was cruel to his animals, and it suggested in both Beastmaster's and Lycan's lore that he was insane in general. His menagerie, or personal zoo, consisted of lions, apes, fell deer, very rare unknown things, and even mythological animals barely believed in. 2 years later, when Karok the Beastmaster was 7 years old, a strange new beast never seen before was dragged into the royal court. It spoke to the people in a language they could understand, probably using some sort of telepathy, because its mouth didn't move, yet it was perfectly understandable. But the cruel king only laughed at the beast's plea for freedom and ordered it to perform for his amusement. The beast didn't oblige, so the king hit it with a scepter and it was dragged to the stocks. It was greatly wounded and would probably have perished very soon if it wasn't for the boy Karok who snuck in food and medicine and tended to the beast. Just like before, it spoke to Beastmaster telepathically, and over time they developed a strong bond. Eventually, their conversations led to Beastmaster learning how to speak to every animal the king owned, but their time together only lasted a few months before the strange creature died of its injuries, which set Karok's mind aflame with rage. With his newly learned language, he convinced all the animals to rise up against the king and let them out of their cages. Karok the Beastmaster and all the surviving animals went berserk in the castle, and then found their way out to freedom to live permanently in nature where they belong. During the escape, he mounted one of the animals, a wise white regal stag, which would later become his companion in the wilderness. But there's one detail I haven't touched on yet, which the observant lore expert may have noticed: the King of Slom's death. Because during the mayhem, the king was mauled. Somehow, the last king of Slom died, and the only detail we know about it from Beastmaster's perspective is that he was killed during the animal rebellion. What if the cause of his death wasn't the animals, but something else? Or rather, someone else. Someone never mentioned in either Beastmaster's or Lycan's lore, a hero you may recognize called Mordred the Phantom Assassin. I will explain everything so you can make up your own mind for yourself, but my headcanon is that the Veiled Sisterhood assassinated the king. But before we get into that, let's go over all his lore across the Dodoverse and save the theory for last. It's timestamped in the description if you want to skip ahead. Okay, so first of all, Beastmaster doesn't talk to a lot of heroes. It's probably because since his escape, he has been living in nature completely secluded from civilization. If we don't count Dark Willow, Pangolier, and Monkey King, the only hero who has an ally voice line for him is Legion Commander, who compliments him for his impressive facial hair.
Nice mustache.
Bear in mind, she does this to all heroes with considerable jaw growth. The only voice lines Beastmaster has for other heroes is telling Clockwork and Zeus to calm their beards.
Calm your beard, Rattletrap. Zeus, calm your beard.
That's it. Though some heroes do have enemy-specific voice lines for him, usually beastie heroes telling him that he's not a master of them.
You were no master of me.
You call yourself a master of beasts? I think not.
I was not your beast to master.
And Axe and Centaur talking smack about his tiny equipment.
You call that an axe?
Your little axes were no match for mine.
Centaur has 3 entire voice lines talking about Beastmaster's axes, and this significant rivalry may be what inspired their extended relationship and story in Artifact. In Artifact, we know that Beastmaster goes to Roseleaf to stop the Marrowfell Centaur's annual ritual. A group is set from their tribe to go on the Great Hunt, which is a test of sorts of skill, endurance, and tracking ability. The yearly hunt is for Thunderhides, and the ultimate glory they can achieve is by taking home the horn of a Thunderhide Alpha. Beastmaster seeks to stop this, and so he is put in direct opposition to Centaur Warrunner, who leads the hunt. We don't know how this ends, but we know that their drama clashes with the Battle of Roseleaf, featuring the Red Mist, Bronze Legion, and Wool Rebellion, which I have a video on in the top right corner. In Underlords, Beastmaster is a tier 2 brawny hunter unit, allied with the Nature's Protectors and Underlord Anno, or if you're a man of culture, Kassan. In Dota 1, his name was Rexxar the Beastmaster instead of Karok, and was a direct copy of the Warcraft character of the same name. He is a half-orc, half-ogre, and in Dota has joined the Sentinel to protect nature. I personally think his concept art with red beasts look dope as frick and kind of wish they stick to it, but I also love his current design with red paint on his face.
Bass Hunter.
This entire incoming section of the video is just my theory and it's not actually canon. I'd just like to make that clear before we continue. Now, let's wind back a little to right before the strange telepathic beast died, which made Karok set the king's animals free, which would lead to the king's death. In order to explain why Phantom Assassin was in fact the one who killed the king, we must look to Artifact again, but not at Beastmaster. And while we do, first of all, have you seen Sir Actionsax's Lorgasm about the mysteries around the map? You probably have since you're here, and if you haven't, spoiler alert. Basically, the theory goes that the King of Slom has taken bear cubs from Ursa's kind and turned them into slaves, using similar magic to how he turned Lycan into, well, a lycanthrope. The item from Dota 2, the Iron Talon, looks similar to the weapons Lycan uses, and he is from a noble family of Slom, and this item is directly related to the Hellbear Uprising. The Hellbears has since rebelled and escaped, probably during Beastmaster's uprising, and so you can find them in the Hellbear camps in Dota 2. But we also see them in Artifact, and we see them not just on a rampage, but specifically after a king's menagerie was set loose. Sound familiar? Okay, so in Dota 2, there's the unnamed King of Slom, who was obsessed with sorcery and animal enslavement, and those animals breaking free was part of his death. And then in Artifact, there's Quertheus, the king of an unnamed kingdom, who also had a personal zoo, which was also a big part of his death. The only thing that separates them is that in Beastmaster's lore, the king was apparently mauled to death, while according to the Brass Herald, it was Phantom Assassin who set the animals free and assassinated the king, Quertheus. But why should we trust that the Brass Herald knows exactly what happened? What if he has been misinformed and it was in fact Beastmaster who set the animals free, and then Phantom Assassin took the chaotic opportunity to assassinate the king? If they are the same, then the unnamed King of Slom gets a name, and Quertheus' unnamed kingdom gets one too. Because in my theory, Quertheus is the King of Slom, and Slom is the third merchant kingdom of Revtel, alongside Ironfog and the Fairy Kingdom. The human merchant kingdom of Slom, where maybe the last son of Ambry, Lycan, will rise to the throne as the last of his noble house. I mean, why else would Lycan and Beastmaster both be an Artifact if them being from Slom wasn't important? But there's one big problem with this theory, which is timing. Beastmaster was a kid when the king died, but in Artifact he's clearly an adult. This could mean that Quertheus' death was in the past, and then Beastmaster trying to stop the Thunderhead hunt is after a time skip. But Quertheus was supposed to be part of assassinating Sorla before she could target Stonehall. Since he died, she didn't, and now the whole Call to Arms Roseleaf war is happening between Sorla Legion Commander and Rix. This means that Sorla Khan and the Roseleaf battle is at the same time as when Beastmaster was a kid, since Quertheus' death and Sorla Khan's march towards Stonehall is at the same time. But we know from spot weakness that the center hunt takes place during the Roseleaf battle too. So if we assume this hunt is the same one Beastmaster is trying to stop, then it makes no sense that he's an adult. That leaves us with 4 options. 1. The time skip did happen because Beastmaster is not in any of the artworks about the Roseleaf battle. The Hunt of the Centaurs happens every year, so the one he's trying to stop is much later than when we see Centaurs hitting Bronze Legion soldiers. Option 2. They did an oopsie while writing and didn't notice this small detail of inconsistency. Honestly, this makes the most sense to me. Number 3. I'm completely wrong and there's 2 separate human kings of 2 separate huge kingdoms who are both obsessed with keeping animals and both of them died while the animals were escaping. Option 4. We are missing crucial information that would fill the plot hole. Some people believe me, some deny it. For me, I personally believe it's a mix of option 1 and 2. There is a time skip, but they also messed up accounting for it. If you know something I don't, please let me know and I will pin your comment. Make sure to check out Slax's video about the Hellbear Uprising, linked in the description, and my human anthropology video if you want to hear the rest of the stories about other significant humans in the Dodoverse. I also make hero-specific lore videos every week, so check them out if you're interested in more. Until next time, peace!
The beauty of nature must be preserved.